Hey, this is Mark.
And this is Kendrick.
And this is Movies in Black and White.
All right, Mark. The fateful day has come and gone. Oh. And we're a little bit behind schedule, like we talked about in our last episode. Right. It was a busy month. But I did get to go see it in theaters.
Yes.
Damn near opening day. I didn't get to go Thursday night like I normally would. But that's what happens when you have a 2-month-old.
Oh, yeah. I got to go see it on that Saturday in good company.
Yeah?
So it was great.
How good company?
Very good company.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah. I did too. It was good times.
Yeah.
I got to throw popcorn at somebody, so that was always fun. Harry was sitting right below me, so I got to throw popcorn at him. It was always good times.
You're right.
Rise of Skywalker. We got to go see it in theaters.
Yes.
I'm just going to say right here, right now, I enjoyed the movie. I absolutely did. I'm going to get that out of the way. And I'm also going to get out of the way that I do not care what other Star Wars fans thinks. Because of the fact that they are the most toxic group of people that have ever existed.
I will agree with that.
And the reason is and I've spent a lot of time thinking about this. The reason I think they're so toxic is because everybody has grown up with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Absolutely everybody. Whether you grew up with the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy or now the sequel trilogy.
Correct.
As they're coming out, everybody gets the preconceived notion of how these movies should go.
Right.
Except the prequel trilogy, because we all knew where that was going to end up. So why you throw a fit about that, I will never know. George Lucas is George Lucas. He's going to do what George Lucas does. That's neither here nor there. Everybody had their own preconceived notion of how these movies should go or how they end. And if they did not get their way, they threw an absolute bitch fit.
Yes, they
which,
did.
To me, is the most asinine thing.
Right.
Because you are getting movies in a franchise that's been going on for 42 years. You should just be happy that we're getting these movies anymore.
Yes, and they're not just slapped together. They're well thought out. There are some holes. Yes, definitely.
Well, especially
but there's holes
in
everything.
Yeah.
But they're well thought out. They're well done. They did a great job with the visuals, and this movie was stunning.
Oh, it was by far the most beautiful Star Wars movie ever made. J.J. Abrams and his cinematographer, which I will look up his name here shortly, they blew it out of the water. And we even said that when the trailer dropped. Right. We knew that was going to be the case.
Yes.
I was not ready for the absolute just beautiful visuals that this movie brought to the table. Yeah. It also brought to the table some of the best fan service I have ever seen in a Star Wars movie. And the fact that people were throwing a fit that there was this much fan service
is insane.
Oh, it's ridiculous because this is okay. So this movie
what
was
we
built.
Look for. I mean, yes. Is it predictable? Somewhat. But is it what we want? Yeah. Why are you complaining about what you want?
I wouldn't say it was entirely predictable.
Some of them were.
Yeah, it blew
cameos
my mind. I was
great.
Like, and I loved being the only person in the theater who was like, "Oh damn!" And then I was like, "Wait, you guys didn't get that's Wedge. That's Wedge and Antilles." But this movie is going to be hard to talk about in a certain sense because you have such conflicting things and people are so divisive on it. It's going to be hard to touch on all aspects of it.
But like you said,
here's the thing. I think they screwed themselves. They had no choice, but I think they screwed themselves when they build it as the end of the Skywalker saga.
Right.
Because you just set the bar way too goddamn high.
Yeah.
Like, it is up there, and you're not going to reach it. And now Abrams is one of the most competent directors out there.
Right.
He's really bar none. There's few directors that can stand toe-to-toe with him. Christopher Nolan, Tarantino being some of the people that are in his caliber.
Correct.
He did what he could.
Favreau.
You can't forget Favreau. He did what he could. And because of the backlash to Last Jedi, because of the backlash to certain parts of The Force Awakens, Force Awakens had it's so much like New Hope. Why are you just repeating trends here?
Yeah, I agree.
And then Last Jedi, who went off kilter and said, okay, let's do it this way. Yep. They backlash saying, "Oh, this is not what I wanted. Luke's such an asshole. Why would this happen? That's not my Luke Skywalker." And then this one, they kind of felt that you kind of got the sense that they felt they needed to back up on a few things,
right?
And kind of give what the people they want. And if this movie is anything, it is a fan service movie.
It is.
I mean, you brought back Palpatine, which, knowing what I know now, I wish with everything in me when that first trailer dropped at D23. Was it D23 or was it Star Wars Celebration? It was Star Wars Celebration. They would not have shown Ian McDiarmid and said that Palpatine's coming back. They should have saved that. Nobody would have been any of the wiser.
Right.
They would have thought Kylo Ren was doing some crazy ass shit. And then when you went to see that in theaters, you would have been like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? And even then, people are still saying that because it never really fully got explained how Palpatine came back.
But
do you really need it to? Do you honestly need it to?
I didn't need it to.
No.
I didn't need it to. Hindsight, it would have been nice.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. I didn't need it to be explained in the movie because it was like, oh yeah, this is great. And, I understand, he's hooked to all these life-giving machines.
Yeah.
He's got his consciousness, but he's
decayed.
dead eyes.
Oh yeah, he was decayed.
The dead eyes gave it the whole feel of this is a shell of he's operating in. It's not really a living body.
No.
He's just a consciousness exuding through this shell.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. For me, particularly, I didn't need the explanation because having watched all the Star Wars movies, there are always gaps.
Yeah.
In the story, there just is. It comes with the territory of having had a franchise span 42 years with sequels and trilogies being 10 to 20 years apart from each other. It's just the nature of the beast. You're gonna have those gaps,
right?
Which you shouldn't, because you had so long to do it. But it just happens,
right?
That being said, there are certain things in the Star Wars universe that people just like, oh yeah, that's great.
Cool. Yeah.
Like Leia being Luke's sister. That was thought of because how are we gonna top Luke? I am your father. That was not in the plans until last minute by Lucas.
That's
it just
exactly
wasn't
it.
Because Palpatine was at the last minute. Doesn't mean that they can't make it work. And for me, they kind of did make it work. I didn't need to be sold on the fact that Snoke was a puppet. You kind of got that feeling
got that idea
from the get-go.
Yes, you did.
It did not blow my mind that Palpatine had been in Ren's head the whole time, being Darth Vader's voice.
Every time, yes.
It just it all made sense when they kind of put it together that way. Mm-hmm. Now, my biggest gripe with this movie, and you and I have talked about this extensively after we both saw it, was the pacing.
Right.
I feel it was a rushed movie. I also feel that, like Batman v Superman, you should have made it a 3-hour cut. You just should have. This movie, Endgame got 3 hours.
Yeah.
It deserved it. It was a culmination of a 10-year story with, 23 films total at the time?
Yes.
With including Endgame. It deserved that 3-hour runtime. This being a 42-year-long story,
you've got to give it that respect.
Yes, you absolutely did. And I feel that because, like Batman v Superman, it was missing scenes. It was cut. It was missing scenes. They tried to streamline as much as possible, and it felt choppy.
It did.
Up until a certain point, about halfway mark when they were on the planet trying to get C-3PO's mind wiped, it felt choppy.
Right.
Once they hit that point, it really hit its stride, and it felt like a complete story. I feel like they needed to get to that point before they could really slow down and kind of enjoy the story as it is. Mm-hmm. I also think that they should release an extended cut. Absolutely. Disney would be smart to do that because you're going to get your monies out of, hey, we know we rushed some of this. Here's the extended cut. Here's what Abrams originally had. Because they went through a lot of rewrites. I mean, I can't imagine the anxiety Abrams had thinking, this fandom's going to fucking kill me. They are going to kill me.
Yeah. It's like, they did. They, in a lot of ways, they're not killing them as bad as what they, say they are.
Well, it's not as bad what they did to Rian Johnson.
Exactly. And plus, the dollars are bearing out that the fan base is not killing them as much.
Not as much as the predecessors made.
Exactly.
But I think there was a lot of animosity because of The Last Jedi and because the fact that which surprised me because the last two got really high ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. This one was sitting at like a 56 last I looked at it. Because it was such a divisive movie. And I have people that I trust when it comes to movies said they did not like it.
Exactly.
Which is fair. You gave it a fair shot. And the guy that I talked to actually said he was going to go back and give it another shot because he felt that he may have judged it too quickly. But the person, my brother, who I thought was going to be the harshest critic on it, actually enjoyed it. And he is a diehard Star Wars fan. So I was dreading talking to him about it.
Yeah.
And he came over, brought my son his first Christmas gifts, and I hesitantly asked him, I was like, what did you think? He goes, oh, I liked it. I'm like, oh, thank God. I don't have to sit here and hear you go on and on and on about this.
About what happened.
But I feel that they did backtrack on a few things.
They did.
Kind of. But at the same time, it's like everybody threw a bitch fit. Probably the same people that threw a bitch fit about Luke not being Luke in The Last Jedi. All of a sudden now Luke is Mr. Helpful in Rise of Skywalker. Right. But to me that makes sense story-wise because he learned the error of his ways in The Last Jedi.
Exactly. I agree.
And then, like the big scene was when he raised his X-Wing out of the water. Everybody's like, oh, that's cheesy. That's stupid. I'm like, no, that's actually beautiful because he struggled with that in Empire Strikes Back. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a knowing nod to the fans. Like, yes, this is how far Luke come. As a Force ghost, he is able to pull his X-Wing out and do something he never could before.
I agree.
Well, not before, but as what we've seen in the movies.
Things like that. Yeah. The only thing that bothered me in the movie was some of the last scenes. The fight with Palpatine. You had Rey fighting desperately not to kill Palpatine, because then it would take his soul would embody her.
She couldn't kill him out of anger.
Right.
Because then the Sith spirits that were inside Palpatine. Because
Right.
the big point was all the Sith were inside Palpatine.
Exactly.
Which was crazy, but I'm down. Cool.
Yeah. So, you sit back and you go, okay, he ends up dying. But he ends up dying, like you said, out of his own anger and out of her defensiveness. And I really didn't want him to kill Kylo. Really didn't want him to
So that within itself is... I was sad. I was sad when Ben died. It wasn't Kylo Ren that died. It was Ben Solo that died. Because Ben got redeemed. He got his Anakin moment. Exactly. And what was really cool, and if you really pay attention, when Kylo got stabbed and Rey healed him, his scar disappeared across his face. He was totally healed. And then he had the most brilliant scene with Ford. Harrison Ford came back as Han. And just kind of like part of Kylo's imagination, where they had their dialogue, they had their father-son moment finally, and Kylo Ren was dead. And Ben Solo was alive. I was pissed knowing the fact that this was the end of the Skywalker saga and you took Ben Solo away. Return of the Jedi had one of the happiest endings. That's why it's my favorite Star Wars movie at the time, because it had the happy ending. Right. I love myself a happy ending. Why couldn't you just give Ben and Rey their happy ending? Why? I mean, so.
I know why.
Yeah.
Because she is the balance of the Force.
Yes, she is. But the balance could be, Ben has always been kind of like the dark side of the Force. Rey was the light side. They could have been the balance together.
But because she's a Palpatine, she was capable of doing the Force light.
Well, that was a big spoiler, by the way. Rey is a Palpatine. Yeah. She's Palpatine's granddaughter.
But, if you haven't seen the movie yet, go out and see the movie.
Well, it's a little late. That's kind of why we waited a little longer, too, because we wanted everybody to see it before we talked about it.
She's able to do some of the more dark side powerful things, so she embodies that balance. She's chosen the name Skywalker at the end of the movie. She's chosen to walk the light side instead of accepting her what kind of was her rightful place as a Sith. And she's able to balance those two, so she embodies the complete balance of the Force.
Yeah, she absolutely does. But you still should have given me that Ben.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
People are throwing a fit about this, but I have to say that is one of the most beautiful kiss scenes I have seen in a movie in a long time. Just the pure love that those two showed for each other. Like when Ben walked up to Rey when she had died before he brought her back. Just the fact that he couldn't look at her broke my heart, because he couldn't dare to see her dead body. It was killing him. And then when he gave himself over to the Force to bring her back and put his life force into her, and they had that kiss, I was like, man, that's beautiful. And then he fell down. I was like, God damn it, do not do this to me. And then he disappeared. I was like, you sons of
you
bitches.
Guys, come on.
Like, all right, I get it. I get that he gave his life to save her. It's the ultimate redemption that he could possibly have.
Right.
But Vader already gave his life. Why do we need Ben to give his life to? Like, you want it, whatever. It is what it is. I'm gonna roll with it.
Right.
If you do sequels where Rey and Finn and Poe are all part of it, you better give me some goddamn Kylo Ren or Ben Solo Force Ghost time. Yeah, you screwed me out of some Luke Skywalker Force Ghost time. Give me some Ben.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't get rid of Adam Driver like that, though, man. He's such a good actor. He killed it as Kylo Ren.
He did. He did a good job.
They all did good, though.
Very good job.
Now, I do have to give major kudos to Abrams. Like, absolutely immense kudos for how they handled Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who don't know, obviously Carrie Fisher died in 2016, was it? Yeah, I believe so. Right before Last Jedi came out, she had passed. She had a heart attack. Last Jedi was released posthumously. She had completed filming. They couldn't just kill her off screen for Rise of Skywalker. Right. Because the whole big point of the original story for this movie, before Abrams got to it, was supposed to be Carrie Fisher's big movie for her. Right. Luke had his in Last Jedi. Ford had his in Force Awakens. This was supposed to be hers. And what they did with it, they kind of gave her that with what they had, and how they did it. I could see it when I was watching it because I knew how they did it. For other people, like my wife, she had no idea how they did it.
Right.
So she got to enjoy it for what it was. She just thought it was part of the movie. But what they did was they pulled archive footage from Force Awakens and Last Jedi and made it work for their story. Now, knowing that, you could go back and watch it and be like, okay, this is why Carrie Fisher's not answering. Certain part of this dialogue just kind of ends.
Right.
It just like abrupt. The fact that they were able to do that is just truly amazing to give her a really good send-off.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, great scenes for what she was in, and the fact that, you know, they had Leia pass to kind of like send out a tremor through the Force to Kylo to kind of like get him to stop.
Yeah.
And then she waited to join the Force until her son passed as well.
Exactly.
It was just beautifully done. And I have to say, that was some of the best de-aging I have seen in a movie when they showed Luke and Leia training.
Right. That was very good.
They nailed young Mark Hamill and young Carrie Fisher, even though it was very brief.
Right.
They did it amazing. I would never have known that wasn't filmed back in the day.
Right.
Compared to how it is. Like, damn, they did killer with it.
Yeah.
But it was just, they did a beautiful job with Carrie Fisher. Very tasteful. Very well done.
Yeah.
Kudos to them. Hardcore. As a whole, the movie was, to me, it was good. Like, I get people are going to complain. I get people are going to be gripey about it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. It was really entertaining. It was, like I said, visually stunning. The story, you know, like you said, it gave you points where you were like, holy crap moments. And then, you know, you sat back and go, oh, okay, that's a relief. Or, you know, it gave you the greatest fan service. Now, the only thing about the end, about the big fight scene, aerial battle, would have never thought that Poe would have almost given up like that. I thought he would have just, you know, hey, we got to fight. We're going to keep going and keep fighting.
To be fair to Poe, though, they've been through some shit.
Oh,
like,
they did.
He lost his friend in that battle.
Yeah.
You know, The Last Jedi was a huge dinger to him. Even though he kind of like seemed like he got a little bit of an understanding towards the end of Last Jedi, he still hadn't. I mean, becoming a leader's a hard thing. It really is. And you either understand it or you just don't. And it's something, if you're learning it, it's hard to learn.
Right.
And he came to terms with it in The Rise of Skywalker only after he got through his darkest moment, which was when they thought they were dying. And then everybody showed up, and that was a great fan service moment. You had the Falcon leading the charge with Lando and the ship, which was awesome. Fuck, I love the fact that Lando was back. I wish he had more screen time.
I did
but
too.
The fact that they brought him back, Billy D. Williams, man, still got that charm.
Man.
He's got that charm. You had the Ghost in there from Rebels, which was really cool. I was stoked to see that. A little fun side note. They are doing a sequel series to Rebels.
Oh, yes.
I'm really excited for that. I thoroughly enjoyed Rebels. And that also brings up a point in when Rey hears all the past Jedi. I mean, obviously you had Anakin. You had a few, like, not so well-known Jedi, like, just kind of throwaway ones. You had Sam Jackson back as Mace Windu.
Right.
You had Yoda. You had Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor doing Obi-Wan thing. This is your last steps. You had Caden from Rebels. Yeah, it's Freddie Prinze Jr., which was cool as shit, because having watched Rebels, Kanan became one of my favorite characters.
Right.
Like, he was awesome. That was great performance by Freddie Prinze Jr., and it was just an amazing character. And I thought those characters were OP in that show. But goddamn were Rey and Kylo like way overpowered.
Crazy.
Like, they were doing some shit
crazy.
I've always wanted to see in a Star Wars movie. I was just bewildered the whole time. Like, when they were fighting on the Death Star remnants, and they were force jumping.
Yeah.
You'd never seen somebody jump that far like that. It was like they were like insane. Superman in this shit.
Exactly.
It was wild. There was so much fan service. But one of the things that cracked me up the most, and you and I talked about this and we both had a good giggle over it, Stormtrooper's armor is notoriously weak against blaster bolts.
Right.
And then in this movie, they had a Stormtrooper getting ready to corner Rey in them, and all of a sudden, a fucking arrow goes through this guy's eye socket. And I'm just like, what the fuck is that armor even good for then? If it can't stop a bloody arrow, what the hell?
Gosh, right.
It's just like, insane. Okay, whatever. These guys are just paper people at this point.
Yeah. It's like, okay. Yeah, you guys don't mean anything.
Oh, it was useless. Those Sith troopers were cool looking though. I wish we got awesome. More of them.
The Knights of Ren were fantastic.
They were cool. I wish we could have got more of a backstory. I feel like this trilogy had a lot of interesting prospects, and they skipped some of the best stuff they could. Like the Knights of Ren were set up in the first one as kind of this cool thing,
and they threw them all just
together.
Hey, here you go.
Oh, that's
the Knights of Ren right here.
Yeah, but that fight scene with him and them and Ben. When
Yeah.
Ben pulled the lightsaber through the Force from Rey,
That's
I'll tell you what, they
awesome.
really brought that Force connection to the next level.
Yeah, they
But
did.
when he pulled the Anakin's lightsaber out, Luke's lightsaber too.
lightsaber.
When he pulled it out and just kind of like shrugged at them,
Yeah.
and then started whooping the
Come on.
shit out of them, I was like, man, that was badass.
Yeah.
Like that was a cool
Loved it.
Ben Solo moment that I thoroughly enjoyed. That movie,
Yeah, it was good to give him that ending.
Yes.
You know, and the ability to say, hey, you know what? I kind of created you guys.
Well-
Let's take you out.
according to the comics, they were a group already
Before
that the
him.
strongest led, and Ben just kind of won his way as their leader.
Ah, okay.
So they're not really
His creation.
Sith
Gotcha.
group or anything. They're just kind of their own little subgroup, but that's just part of like the side history. I feel like they're going to be doing a lot of damage control in the books and the comic books to kind of like connect all the
Are
pieces.
you gonna do some retcon or?
Maybe not retconning, but like try to connect the pieces. Yeah, a little bit of retconning to kind of connect the pieces to make it make more fluid sense
Right.
between all of it.
Got it?
But another missed opportunity I feel was in The Last Jedi was Captain Phasma.
Yeah.
They could have done so much more with her.
Much more. I believe that too.
But they've always done that before. I mean, Boba Fett, one of the greatest Star Wars characters ever, really didn't have much to do.
No.
I mean, he followed the Millennium Falcon around in Empire and then took Han Solo away after he'd been frozen in carbonite. And then in
Yeah,
Return of the
Matt
Jedi, he kind of went out quickly.
Yeah.
These characters are cool looking and they have that appeal. And the toys and the comic books and the books are what really sell those characters. So I
Yes.
think that's what they're best known for at this point. So I hope they give Captain Phasma some kind of justice down the line.
I hope so too, because I mean, you know, one of the coolest looking armors.
Oh,
that
yeah.
you've seen on a stormtrooper, you know, or trooper, and two, a great character.
Yes.
You know, tough as nails, female character.
Yeah, yeah. What was really cool too was the fact that Finn ended up being Force sensitive.
Right.
Like it was hinted at kind of in The Force Awakens, like how is he going up against Kylo Ren, lightsaber to lightsaber?
Yes.
Like, and this dude's supposed to be a badass.
Yeah.
And this nobody, this
Well, that's what
stormtrooper-
the whole, you know, the joke was.
Yeah.
Behind
Yeah.
the Force Awakens was like, dude, you've been trained in this for
Yeah,
so many years.
What's
and
the
you're
problem here?
getting whooped by
But
people
then
who are just
Ray just came in
starting.
and whooped his
Yeah,
ass. But
exactly.
she had the reasons. Ultimately
Yeah.
she was a Palpatine, but she was super strong in the Force.
correct.
This movie really pushed it that Finn was Force sensitive.
Yeah.
I mean, when Ray died, he stopped and was like, Ray.
Right.
Like, you
Yeah.
knew right then and there, okay, this fucker is really Force sensitive. Like,
Exactly.
and at the point where they were going down the quicksand, J.J. Abrams even came out and said he wasn't going to tell her that he loved her. He wanted to tell her that he was Force sensitive.
Correct.
Which I feel that you didn't really get much of that from The Last Jedi. Like, you didn't get
No.
that feeling that he was
No,
really
no,
Force
no.
sensitive. You just thought he was a normal stormtrooper, which was cool. I'm also cool with him being possibly a Jedi down the line, too.
Correct.
That would be really
I
cool.
agree. That would be neat.
I think a lesson learned for this trilogy that they should have known but kind of didn't was originally they hired Abrams to do The Force Awakens, Rian Johnson to do The Last Jedi, and then Colin Trevorrow to do Rise of Skywalker, which I don't even know if it was going to be called that at the time. It was going to be called something else. But they did not have a thorough line of story documented out that these guys could follow. They just kind of left them to their own whims, it seemed. It said, okay, here's what came before, go write what you need to write.
Yeah.
Here's what this guy's doing, go write what you're going to write. The reason the other trilogies work so well connected story-wise is because Lucas was the mastermind
Yeah.
behind the whole
continuities
thing, yes.
Went together.
And it was cool having Abrams as the front and back bookends of the trilogy, but I feel that if he would have been able to do the whole thing, he would have done things a lot differently and we would have got a totally different trilogy. And that's not to say I didn't want to see The Last Jedi as it is, because I truly love The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel if you would have stuck with one person or one screenwriter through the whole thing, this would have gone a whole lot more sensible.
lot more
and that's just
and
lesson
smoother.
learned for whatever you do next, Disney, with Star Wars.
Yeah, a cohesive flow through all the movies. Instead of feeling like, yeah, it's a trilogy, but they're three separate.
It's three
you know,
distinct movies.
movies.
Which, to be fair, New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi kind of feel as three distinct movies because they had three different directors. But the difference is you had Lucas writing all three of them. He was the mastermind behind the whole thing. And then the prequel trilogy felt the same because Lucas directed all three and wrote all three. Be my guest. You're the creator and the godfather of this whole thing. You can do whatever the hell you want, and I'm behind it. So I think that's kind of where they stumbled. They kind of just left them to their devices, and this is what you get, kind of a hodgepodge put together.
Right.
Also, if you're going to commit to a story and let the person make that story, commit to it to the next part of the story as well. Like, don't just try to start changing shit just to change it, or let characters fall away that could have been something better or more. I'd be curious if we ever find out there are alternate dimensions. If there is an alternate dimension out there that has a sequel trilogy just completely directed by J.J. Abrams, how that looks.
That'd be great.
But it was an enjoyable movie. I really liked how it ended. I was sad that one missed opportunity I really did see that bugged me was when Luke and Leia showed up as Force Ghosts when Rey said, "My name is Rey Skywalker," and she buried their lightsabers. Why was it just Luke and Leia? Why not Ben? Why not Anakin? Why not Obi-Wan? Why not Yoda? Why not all of them?
Yeah. I mean, you know, they were constantly saying you have the power of all the Jedi with you. I would have liked to have seen just the myriad of Jedi right there show up.
Yeah. It would have been cool. It would have been a great, iconic moment. Yeah. And I thinking back on it, I'm sure Abrams was thinking, God, I had a lot of missed opportunities. But I feel like he was rushed because he was kind of ladded last minute. Hey, you really need to do this for us. And he came in and tried to do it.
Handcuffed in some ways. Handcuffed by the fans, handcuffed by, hey, you can't screw this up.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, come on.
He did what he could. And as it is, it's an enjoyable movie. If you just turn off your brain and don't overthink, it's a Star Wars movie. You're not meant to get too deep into this. It's not, your Inception or your Interstellar where you're meant to really think about it. It's just a Star Wars movie. Now, it's always got the philosophical debates in it about light and dark, but it's not something that you haven't seen the past 8 movies.
Right.
You're not meant to read that too deep in it. And the fact that people are is just mind-boggling to me. But whatever. Right. It's neither here nor there. I feel that he had some missed opportunities, but one of my stupidest ones I feel is a missed opportunity, but that's just me, and I think it's funny as hell. Every time, I watch episode 3, when I hear Mace Windu or see Mace Windu getting shocked by the Force lightning, and then I went and saw Rise of Skywalker and see her pushing that Force lightning back after he just spoke to her. All I can hear in my head is "unlimited power, motherfucker!" That's all I can hear Sam Jackson saying, and I giggled through that scene, even though it was a cool scene to watch. Yeah. That's all I could think of.
Right.
Fucking Sam Jackson, man, he is a trip. I bet you our Finn's gonna have some kind of purple lightsaber. Is it a black guy thing, Mark? Is that what it is?
I don't know. I do like purple.
Yeah, purple's a cool color.
Yeah.
It's a great color. Fair deal.
It's not, green and blue and...
Hey, she had a yellow lightsaber. Rey had a yellow lightsaber at the end, which was really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I was happy they changed her color. People are like, why yellow? Why not yellow?
Yeah.
Like, well, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Though the one thing I will say is I wish she would have had that. I don't understand why she felt the need just to go rebuild Luke's lightsaber. Why didn't she just make her own from the get-go?
Yeah,
why did she need Luke's?
Exactly.
The fact that Leia's lightsaber came into play was really cool.
That was cool.
But why did you need Luke and Anakin's lightsaber back? Why couldn't you just made your own like Luke did in Return of the Jedi? It would have been too much like Return of the Jedi. Fuck it, you committed to it on the other movies. Why not this one? It was a cool little nod at the end, but will we ever see her use it? Probably not. But I also thought it was a missed opportunity in Last Jedi when you saw the Force ghost of Luke, or Force projection of Luke using the blue lightsaber, when he should have been using his green lightsaber.
One. Yeah.
So, that lightsaber he had only used really 1 or 2 times.
And then he made his
own. He made his own and used it for most of his life. Yes. Why didn't he just use that in his Force projection? Right. Yet again, just nitpicky Star Wars stuff. It was a good ending to a trilogy, a good ending to a saga. I don't think you could have done much more.
Right.
I mean, it was a rock and a hard place. How do you cap off a 42-year story?
And it still remains to be seen if it's like the end.
Well, I know that they talked about what they're doing next. And from the rumors I'm hearing, it's going to be a multimedia, kind of like Avengers style thing.
Right.
Where Star Wars, they're going to have multiple Star Wars movies and then they kind of all connect.
Yeah.
But it's going to take place
games and things like
400 to 500 years in the past.
Oh, great.
In the High Republic era. Which will be really cool because maybe we'll get to see a young Yoda.
That'd be sweet.
That would be dope. I'm down for that.
That'd be awesome.
So I'm really curious to see where they go next with it, but I'm also kind of sad because I could watch another movie with Daisy Ridley and Oscar Isaac and John Boyega, and I feel that Kelly Marie Tran really got screwed in this movie.
Yeah,
she was a highlight of Last Jedi for me. She did a really good job. People were just mean assholes that were just rude to her online.
For what reasons? I don't know.
I couldn't fathom myself.
It's like you said, they're a very toxic fan base.
And she got I think, ultimately, she ended up getting 9 minutes of screen time when it was all said and done or something like that. It was a very short, obscene low number. Maybe 15 minutes is what the number I read was. Just too little of a number, man. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It also sucks because Chris Terrio wrote the script for this movie with J.J. Abrams. You know who Chris Terrio is, Mark?
I do not.
He wrote some movies with Ben Affleck. I think he...
Dogma?
No, not... Dogma? No, he didn't. That's Kevin Smith.
Okay,
He wrote Argo.
Okay.
He wrote Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Jeez.
And Justice League.
Okay.
The last 3 movies he did, being Batman v Superman, Justice League, and Rise of Skywalker, I'm sure he had a killer script for each one of them, but because of the way scripts are rewritten and the way things are getting cut down to shorter lengths, especially Justice League and Batman v Superman, and even Rise of Skywalker, his story is getting butchered.
Yeah.
Because Batman v Superman, like we talked about, was an amazing movie, especially the extended cut. Okay, let me rephrase. Batman v Superman was a decent movie. The extended R cut was way better because it had a solid flow line at that point. It was a great story when it was all said and done together. Justice League was good, and I'm really curious to see what the original script looked like by him and Zack Snyder before Whedon got his hands on it and redid most of the movie.
Right.
I'm also curious to see what the original script for Rise of Skywalker looked like before they had to make cuts for time constraints, which, yet again, why you decided it needed to be 2 hours and 20 minutes when almost all Star Wars fans would have been content, happy to sit there for 3 hours and 15 minutes, however long, to see a solid ending to their saga is beyond me. I mean, what were they thinking on that part?
Right. I don't know.
Because Endgame was long.
Endgame was long, but it had a flow. Yeah. And it was, it did feel quick because the movie had continuity.
Yeah.
It wasn't choppy. They didn't sit back and say, okay, we're just going to try to stuff this in here. And we didn't have the continuity of a director. We didn't have the continuity from the studio. We didn't have the ideas.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that Marvel does so well is they don't have the continuity of directors except for a few here and there.
Right.
But they have the continuity of this is your story. This is the beat you need to hit.
Mm-hmm.
You're free to do whatever you want
within that beat.
Within these beats. But you got to hit these beats.
Yeah, it's like a drummer.
You absolutely have to.
Land back on the 8, buddy.
And that's the thing I wish they would have taken a page out of Feige's book for was Endgame was the end of that in the Infinity Saga, the end of that storyline.
Right.
But they still left it open for certain things. But they gave you a fruitful... Like, if it was just to end there, that's okay. Because most of the characters had nice tied up arcs.
Right.
The ones that we had all come to love. Now, obviously, they had some new ones that had just been introduced that have to finish up their story arcs. But, it could have ended. It'd been okay. This one, I feel that they felt, we absolutely have to tie this up.
Everything up, yeah.
It's like, no, you could leave some of this open for me. Like, I'm okay with that. They did cut a lot of stuff because, like, the one big one I remember was the girl that they met on the planet. I forget her name. On the planet where the Death Star stuff was. Right. She was a former stormtrooper.
Exactly.
That was supposed to be Lando's daughter.
Okay.
And
they kind of hinted at it at the end, but didn't.
Well, that was kind of creepy the way they edited that, where Lando's like, well, let's go look. And it's like, why the hell is this 70, 80-year-old man all of a sudden coming up to this girl saying, yeah, let's go on an adventure? Like, dude, like, you're a pimp and all, but slow your roll, bro.
That's funny.
So, okay, Mike, I feel like we've talked about it quite a bit. What would you give it on a 10 scale?
Oh, the ratings.
Yeah.
Honestly, I give it a 7.9.
That's fair.
7.9 for you.
Yeah, I'd give it about an 8.2. Like, it was a good movie. I feel like it's getting a lot more hate than it should.
Right.
What do you expect at this point? I thoroughly enjoyed Ian McDermott's performance as Palpatine. It was amazing.
Yes, great.
The story was good. I feel it was a little rushed. The visuals, bar none.
That was
bar absolute none. When he shot his Force lightning up into the sky.
Oh yeah.
Force
lightning tree.
That was.
It's like, dude.
That was visually stunning.
Another kind of hole there, but it's like you're that powerful. Come on.
Well, he did. Okay, well, you saw what Rey and Ren were doing, or Ben were doing throughout most of the movie.
Well, no, what I'm saying is you're that powerful, and you allowed this. His ego basically allowed him to get killed.
Well, if I had to guess, because the way he ended in Return of the Jedi, he did say he has all the Sith in him, so maybe he got possessed at that point in time through whatever means he made to survive that. Maybe he got all the Sith power through him, funneling through him, and he's like just a funnel for all that, so he was able to use it all. I do have one fan theory of my own that I want to tell you for this movie. When Ben brought her back to life. He held her stomach
Mm-hmm.
and put his life through her to bring her back. What if he impregnated her with the Force in his own life essence?
Crazy.
They'll have a kid together. I feel like that would be
That would be crazy.
really cool. That would be pretty cool. I actually told somebody that the other when I saw the movie, and they got back to me like a week later and like, you know what, you may have something there. You may have something there. I was like, oh, that'd be really cool if they.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, that's right. Brought to you by Kendrick, King of the Star Wars. Shit, I wish. I'm taking back that one because I do not want to hear back about bullshit. You're stupid. I enjoyed it. I want to go see it again.
Yeah.
I was happy that our one date night without our son, we got to go see that movie. That was fun for us. We got to really enjoy it. I really do hope they come out with an extended cut though.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So, any closing thoughts, Mark? Anything you want to add?
Overall, I hope that they do continue it. I hope that this was a pseudo ending and not a definite ending. I know they're gonna do some offshoots and things like that, but I really would like to see the continued story of Rey and Poe and
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All those guys.
Well, this is one thing I didn't bring up, and this is my closing thoughts. This movie also made me cry a few times. It made me cry when the opening song got played because my uncle was a huge Star Wars fan. My uncle that my son's named after, and anytime I go to see a Star Wars movie and I hear the opening music, it always makes me cry because he took me to go see Revenge of the Sith, which we thought at the time was going to be the last Star Wars movie.
Right.
And so anytime I go see, I get very emotional. When Chewie broke down when he found out Leia passed,
right,
that was heart wrenching.
Yeah,
just hit you right in the feels. And then when Ben died, and when Ben thought Rey died, or Ben saw Rey dead, like all that
tough moments.
Those were tough moments that were really hitting me in the feels right here, just killing me. Oh, Kerry Russell did a good job too. Yeah, just kind of short, but it was good. Yeah, I feel there's a missed opportunity to make Finn and Poe gay though. That would have been cool. They had really good chemistry with each other. But yeah, we enjoyed it. So I've been Kendrick.
And I'm Mark.
And this has been Movies in Black and White. Hope you enjoyed it.